Euzubillah Rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dastur Madad is I will say. Big problems these days because people don't know who to ask from. They don't know who to ask from. They don't know when to ask. They don't know what to ask. Definitely, they don't know how to ask. And why they're asking. Everybody has their own ideas and agenda very clearly. When they ask help, not from the men of Allah, not from the Ahli Jannat, not from the Ahli al-Haq, not from the Ahli Zikr, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, if there's any questions that you need, any questions that you may ask, any answers that you need, ask from the Ahli Zikr. Open ayat, ask from the Ahli Zikr. They will give you an answer to that. But they have a problem with that. But they have no problems asking from the Ahli Dunya. Anything you want to ask but the Dunya, ask from the Ahli Dunya, they're saying. But don't ask help from the men of Allah, from RijalAllah. There's a big sickness now. That's why daily, the Muslims, the Ummah, is falling deeper and deeper into a mess, and they will never get out from it. Because they're asking help now from unbelievers. They're allying themselves with the unbelievers. They're not thinking and saying, ask help. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, ask help from my Prophet. And Prophet ﷺ is saying, obey your leaders. If you obey your leader, you obey me. In another hadith, Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, he who obeys me obeys Allah. He who disobeys me disobeys Allah. So what else do we want? That one is representing Allah. What problem do you have? Because you want to represent Allah now. Everyone coming up with their own ideas. The whole mess that we come is the whole idea, men's and women's now, thinking that in this Ahir Zaman, we're asking questions that has never been asked before. We're faced with issues that have never been faced before. We're so smart that no one has ever in the 1400 years of Islam, all the alims, all the scholars, all the salihin, all the tabi'ins, all the Awliya Allah, they are not as smart as us. Why? Because we learn English. We go to schools. We get degrees. And we dare to ask things about Islam. People never ask all these things. Now we dare to ask because the Muslims, they have been stuck for over 800 years, 1,000 years, 1,400 years. This kind of fasad, this kind of fitna, this kind of poison has entered. Especially in the last 100 years. First, by the Wahhabi shaitans. Saying 1,400 years of Islam, it is incorrect. Khalifah Rashidin, minus that. Mostly Muslims, they have lost their direction. Muslims now, they become mushriks. And if you look at the history of Wahabbism, it is halal for them to kill other Muslims and to take their possessions. It is halal. They have shed blood not only in the presence of the Kaaba. They have shed blood in Taif. They shed blood everywhere, saying the Ahli Sunnat. They have gone the wrong direction. They have become mushriks. That's why you hear them always quoting ayats in the Quran, using the ayats against the Ahli Sunnat, against the Ahli Tasawuf and Ahli Tariqat. Ayats that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the mushriks. And using the same ayat to the mu'mins, to the Muslims. One shaitanic idea coming from there. And the other shaitanic idea coming from the West. The secularism, which people in the West, they are waking up to ideas of spirituality. But those ones who are looking at the West and taking the worst from the West, they become weak. And they say, well, the West went through, let me see, went through dark ages. Muslims, did we go through dark ages? The West, they go through medieval ages. They went through enlightenment, isn't it? They went through modernism. They went through so many other things. Count how many there are. Nationalism, Renaissance, whatever you're going to put in it. The West go through all of that. Oh, Islam, the Muslims, we didn't go through all of that. We must go through all of that because our role model is the West. Because when Islam came, it didn't bring light to everywhere. We have to go through dark ages. We're still in the dark. We have to go through medieval ages. We're still in the medieval ages. So many now claiming that they're Muslim scholars are also saying this. We're still where Christianity is 1,000 years ago, 800 years ago. We're still stuck. We need to catch up, brother. That means they did not believe when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, today I perfected your religion. And I've chosen Islam for you. Islam came with perfection. They are completely brainwashed. And looking at the last 100 years, that in the worst time, never Muslims have experienced this before, saying, you see, Islam is very bad. 100 years, you see, everything is chaos. Now, we need to catch up. We need to have Renaissance, we need to have Enlightenment, we need to have modernism, we need to have everything in the space of 20 years, 30 years. We need to have that quickly. And we need to open the doors of Islam again. We need to have new ijtihad. We need to give everyone their rights according to how the West is telling us what our rights are. Not according to Allah and His Prophet. Not according to the awliya, not according to the Sahaba Kiram, not according to the Tabi'in. Whereas it's saying, men's equal means everyone has to stand on the same line. Women's equal means women also, they must lead the prayers, they must do this and they must do that. West is saying, not Allah and His Prophet, so we must have the same thing. So now they're going to give rights to everyone. Pretty soon they're going to say, gays also have that equality. Why? We have to cut them away from us. They can also have the right to do that. So now it's not the ijtihad that is open. The doors of ijtihad that is open. It's the doors of fasad and fitna is open. It has been open for the last 100 years. When the Khilafat was brought down, when there was no control, when everyone started to do and have their own opinions about everything. And we see, instead of Islam rising, Islam always rises, by the way. But the Muslim, the Ummah, the Haybat, the honor, going down, 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 and down. Because they're saying, it's not what Prophet is saying. It's not what the Sahabis they're saying. It's what the West, they taught us. Whereas he's saying, outside is not important. What difference does it make? So many now I'm hearing. Imams, they're saying. Outside is not important. You can wear suit and tie. Suit and tie imams now. Which in the old days, Muslims, they even forbidden to look like unbelievers. Because Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying, do not look like Jews or Christians. They have their own look. We're not saying nothing. Don't imitate them. During the time of the Ottomans, you don't see people imitating each other. You don't see people saying that everyone has to dress like Turks or have to be like Ottomans. Like today, everyone has to be modern. Everyone has to be dressing up the way that the fashion industry in Europe and in New York, they are dictating to us how to dress. And these woman-faced imams, suit and tie imams, they're not understanding what is that suit and tie and what it represents, especially the tie, what it represents. Because in Islam, it is even forbidden for us to wear a hat. Because it prevents us from making a sajda. We lost all these traditions. People, they lost all this knowledge, but they know how to give fatwa to each other. MashaAllah. And these leaders of Islam looking like unbelievers, but they are not sincere. You know why they're not sincere? If they say it's not important, if they say it's really not important, how you look outside, then why you choose to look like Europeans? You say it's not important, correct? Meaning Islamic way is not important, European way is not important. Both is the same, you say, correct? So why you chose to look like Europeans? Why you don't choose to look like Muslims and to say this is not important? It doesn't mean this is something about my iman. That means you prefer that. If you're really sincere, you say this is not important, one is the same as the other, then you're going to choose something that is going to reflect your faith. And you're not going to stop people from looking Islamic. Now we see people coming into turbans. We've come to the really last days. We come to people who started to wear turbans and dress Islamically, and they looked on as strangers. Don't worry, those who are doing that. Prophet ﷺ is saying, welcome to the strangers. You get the salams and the welcome from Prophet. You look like strangers. Islam began strange, will end strange. You go into a masjid, dressed like an unbeliever. Anyone is going to say that you are strange? No. And now, especially the weather is turning hot, you're going to see Arabs, number one, coming to Jummah wearing shorts. Huh? No kufi, no nothing. Forget about wearing t-shirts, which is makruh. And wearing shorts to go to Jummah to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will not dress like that to meet their boss in their work. But to meet Allah, Allah doesn't care. You're looking like unbeliever. Even Imam is not going to say nothing. No one is going to say nothing. This is, it's okay, they're saying it. But if you go there, wearing a shalwar, wearing a jubbah, wearing a turban, wearing the sunnah that for 1300 years Muslims they have kept, they're going to look at you, brother, what is this new style? Subhanallah. Brother, what is this? We're not living in Afghanistan anymore, you know. Why are you wearing this? Why? They get very upset. They get very angry. Brother, you're not living in India. Some of our brothers are wearing turbans and they go to some masjids, very European kind masjids. And they say, wearing turban is Indian tradition. Yeah, Jahil. We live in this time of second Jahiliyyah, second age of ignorance. There is no knowledge anymore, there is only ignorance. It's okay. You wear that, you hold on to your sunnat. That when the sunnat, when you are wearing outside and inside, we haven't even come to the inside yet. Carrying the sunnat from the inside. Deal with the outside. Outside is simple, isn't it? If it's so simple, why people choose to disappear now? Now you go out there, if you wear these clothes, you're going to disappear. You cannot even tell the difference whether you are Muslim, Christian, or... We have our own identity. But people are scared to show the Islamic identity, especially now. Because it is difficult. Because they're pleasing the kafirs instead of pleasing Allah. They're pleasing the unbelievers. If you are still carrying it, and it's difficult, understand, you are one of those that Prophet is saying, alayhi wasalam, Islam began strange, it will end strange. And hold on tightly to my sunnats, hold on tightly to Islam, because to your faith, because it is going to be like what? Fire in your hands. It's going to burn you. If you go out, no, you go out. Go out. Go to the masjids wearing jeans and t-shirt, not covering your head. You go to the masjid, you come out, nobody is going to look at you any different. That's not carrying your faith like it is a fire. Now go out there wearing sunnah, looking like a Muslim. You not only get fire from the unbelievers, you're going to get fire from so-called Muslims in masjids. They're going to give you dirty look, saying, we're trying to make Muslims to become more Western and you're pulling us back. This is backward thinking. MashaAllah. So, yes, we come to that situation, Jahiliyyah. We're surrounded by Jahil people. Don't go running after Jahil people. Go after those who are not afraid of their faith. What are we saying? Now, of course, even those who are halfway, they want to be Muslims, they cannot, because everything that the media is showing, those ones who are holding on tightly to traditions, they're only showing what? Terrorists, Taliban type, all the wrong type of Muslims wearing the Sunnah clothes, isn't it? To show wearing Sunnah means you're backward like these people, extremists, terrorists, giving Islam a bad name. Why they choose that? When they by themselves, they're saying the new kind of terrorists, they don't even dress like a Muslim. They are saying the terrorists that blew up the towers before they went and blow themselves up, they went to party, isn't it? In the clubs. And they look completely like Western. So why are they still showing this? Must be a different agenda there. Yes. So, we are not afraid, inshallah. We are only afraid, fearing from our Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our Prophet ﷺ, afraid of what they may think. Because when we pass from this world, when we die, we have to answer to them. We don't have to answer to any unbeliever. We have to be happy with this religion. We have to be proud of this religion. We have to understand the Sunnah of the Rasulullah ﷺ. If we don't, then we're going to be swayed. Anywhere the wind blows, we're going to go. Anywhere the wind blows, we're going to go. And these are the days of complete fitna and confusion that is happening, as people like to, as they like. Now, it is not according to your lineage that is going to help you. It's not according to your color. It's not according to your education system. It's not according to all these other factors that's going to save you. Sincerity will save you. Sit down and think and be sincere to yourself. May Allah increase our sincerity, inshallah. Wa min Allahu tawfiq al-Fatiha. Amen.